assume correlation's been done well, then we'll just get into the technical part of things, the everyone's favorite, how do you do technical analysis? So let's get into that part. Okay, so let's start from the top. I'm going to show you what caught my eye from a higher time frames perspective. One thing is on the weekly time frame, I don't see anything that's going on. Okay, the markets are just hovering around sideways. Then from that point, well, I don't have a flow, I don't have a direction apart from. Let me open up my drawing tools. Just let me know if this is visible.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So apart from this overall upward flow, I don't really have anything that's going on. So the only thing I can have is a act of momentum from a good location that begins the engine, which that's why market beats is there to grab our attention saying, hey, look at this. So we want to then evaluate, if I am looking at this, am I looking at this to do this? Am I looking at this to do this? Am I looking at this to do that? Now, whichever theory I come up with, I need to be aware of what's the location, how long will it take, and then more importantly, where am I starting from? Okay, where am I starting from? Actually, this goes hand in hand together with when would this begin? Okay, so if you saw the position that I posted in the elite community and the one I did with you guys is actually the third position. I've actually started much earlier. I started last night, right? You guys remember that first message that I sent? Let me pull up the image. Okay, let's save. Okay, so I'm pulling up the image right now. Here. So this is where I wanted to do a buy stop order, but there's already a gain for today, and that comes from the position that was entered much earlier and then re-entered later down the line. But we'll get into all of that piece by piece. So weekly from the top, no flow. Got it. Got to keep that in mind moving forward. Next, daily. Okay, daily, I'm seeing a flow come down, full reversal. And what do we know about sharp reversals, Mariana? What does it cause?
It caused a delay.
It causes a delay, right? So, which means if I am this seller and then I see a struggling buyer and then a sell again, and then if I have a sharp reversal, two things happen. I can look at this from a logic point of view, which means if there's people selling and now there's this much aggressive buyers, why would anyone sell anymore? Check. But a sharp reversal also says, yeah, but this guy is still in control, right? The sell is still in control, but a sharp reversal just came in. Why is it sharp? We can see the quality of the buyers versus the quality of the sellers. This tells us that this is going to take some time if a seller wants to sell. Okay, which means if I do a buy when this sell struggles, I still know he might still be alive. Which means if I do the buy and if my buy struggles, this can kick in. And if that struggle ends, then I can go up. So I need to get my head straight of what kind of thing am I dealing with? Once I get the objectives clear, I can build a plan for that. But I need to know what is this monster I'm going to be working with. So a couple of things is the thing that I'm about to buy is something that says this guy is not dead yet. Okay, especially on the higher time frame, we really don't know who's in control of the market. All we know is this showed up on market beats. It's very active. We got to listen. Okay, fine. Now, further to that, we have this struggle. Now, that's what I'm evaluating now from the daily's perspective, then the 4 hours perspective to break down these chunks. Let me put it side by side. Okay, here's the daily here. I'll put this one on the 4 hour. Okay. So we got the first move down here, pulls back, further moves down, sellers are in control. Okay, we can see the guy who started it's dead and so on and so forth. But after that, we got a aggressive move back up from that moment to that moment. Does that look aggressive? No. So sellers are still in control. They hit the sells, but this is their performance on the sells, and then a buy shows up. Now that buy that shows up is across the board. Correlation is screaming, there's something wrong with this. I'm already aware this seller is not going to sell just yet because of this sharp reversal. So far, so good. No one's lost yet, right? You're following along. Because that sharp reversal is not going to activate yet, I want to see if the buy starts. I want to be early as possible with the buy so I don't activate a buy here and then this seller says, thank you very much. And then I'm dead. So location of where I'm getting in, very, very important. Keeping the objective clear in my mind of what am I dealing with? Am I dealing with a home run? Am I dealing with a temporary buy movement? What kind of movement is coming in? So keeping all these little pieces in mind, we're saying, okay, if I'm going to buy this thing, I see this thing, and then a strong push up from here. All right, let's evaluate that now. I have to solve all of this before I'm allowed to open the 60. Already 60 is low, right? So now it's just a matter of this guy, he activated here. It's a very deep pullback, which means what's it doing that high? That's one dilemma. Then it starts coming down, but then it loses momentum down here. Okay, that's the second thing. So if a buy needs to be done, I am able to see the momentum has faded of the sell side, which makes me say, okay, I'm going to start a buy from here, but if the buy cannot lift, I got to get out. Notice I still didn't open the 60. I made a plan along with the objective that says, keep this in mind, because what you're about to do, if you forget this, you'll make a mistake. Right? So constantly reminding myself of that story. Don't forget, don't forget, don't forget. Okay. Now, let's open this section up on the 60. Yeah? Here's that section here on the 60. We got that first move here coming down. First move here looks identical. No subdivision, nothing. Next move goes down from here to here. And that's this move from down here to here. It's starting to subdivide. Okay? Starting to subdivide. And then we've got from that subdivision, we got buyers, pulls back, buyer again, hold. This is now starting up the engine of saying he's here. Now, the exact same thing that I'm telling you guys up here from the 4 hour and the weekly, from the 4 hour, sorry, not from the 4 hour, from the daily. Remember, this guy might still be alive because of a sharp reversal. Wait. Okay, same situation here. When this thing was coming down and he aggressively goes up, I'm not sure this guy is done yet. I can see that if I am that store owner, I would start to let go, but I cannot be 100% certain yet. So I got two dilemmas now. Okay. If he comes down, I need to prepare for that. If he leaves from here, I need to prepare for that. I got to build these scenarios ahead of time rather than making one and saying, I hope this is the right one. So I got to be prepared for both angles. Okay. Sharp reversal back up. So we need to see the seller's attempt. Okay. If you are this seller and you see this, is that your attempt as a seller? No, it's delayed, right? So we want to see, let the buyer finish, and then I'll do my attempt after. This is what caught my attention here on that red bar by saying, okay, this, when he killed that guy, I was like, all right, come on down and show me how he struggles. If it does well, then upon his return, I might be able to get these prices. I'm already aware of the story that the buyer is pushing, but I don't know if I end up in a scenario like this. If I end up in a scenario like that, I'm not in, I don't care. So by controlling these situations, situation number one is saying buy stop order here, which means I truly trust everything that's happening, but I don't want to get in just yet. Buy stop means if the price triggers above this price, fill me in at whatever price. That's what a buy stop means. It means this or above, I will accept anything. So in other words, take me with you. Okay. The other thing is if it starts coming down choppy, then I can position myself by saying, I like that it's choppy, buy stop order here. Okay. Allowing me to consolidate my risk a little bit more and also further improve the probability that we're on the right track, we're thinking the right thing. If it crashes, game over. Right? This allows us that nimbleness of both sides. Okay, so the timing element is the element that I wanted to talk to you guys about. And I also wanted to see if you guys are able to catch this sharp reversal idea when I asked you guys in the morning of try to build some scenarios about this. There's no doubt that I know you know it's a buy, but how is it a buy? How would you position yourselves to be ready for that buy? These were the main questions I wanted you guys to evaluate and saying, okay, let me get to the drawing board. Let me see what I can do. Okay, scenario A, scenario B, scenario C. But at the end of the day is if we do a buy from here, I'm going to put a line there and not forgetting everything we discussed from the higher time frame. Our location of the buy is here, which is low. If it comes up choppy, this guy will reattempt. I don't want to be in a buy up here. I don't want to be in that position. However, if I'm in the buy here and then it flies through, I can begin to think of stage 2, which is adding size or beginning a brand new position that might be there. Okay. And then a stage 3 type of situation. Okay. If this thing starts to come back down, scratch, minor loss, I'm out. So there's an element of this trade that we're pursuing is not a trade that is out and free in the open. It's still dealing with him. It's not over yet. Remember how we say the range, when the buyer comes back in, the seller doesn't try anymore and he's got a pop and all of our activities begin after? We are trading that range right now, but from a decent location, timing it and saying, as long as it's low enough, we'll give it a go. But if it gets too high, it becomes dangerous. It becomes hard. It becomes almost impossible to do. Yeah. So, but I didn't get any scenarios from you. Nobody gave scenarios, actually. I mean, Rosario gave his explanation on how he would have bought it from the 60, but I was missing scenarios from the rest of you guys.
I don't understand why he should have sold. I don't understand why this guy should have sold.
Which guy?
The last one you said. That's why I said it's done on the 60. This guy, why should have sold?
Because of this portion here. This sharp reversal down, he never got a chance to try again. So because of that, when this move comes back up and he gets killed, I don't know yet. So I want him to fully try. When he comes up and then he does this again, okay, my buy stop orders are placed. If it goes, great. If it crashes, I love it. Then I get a better price.
No, now you change it compared to before. Because you said before, this guy got a sharp reversal.
Yeah.
That's not the seller. He got this guy in. And
but
now if he
wait.
doesn't perform,
That seller, how can you be sure that seller tried? He hasn't tried yet. It's still that same buy, the sharp reversal.
I understand this part. But then I understand that this guy, if this is not the seller, because theoretically after a sharp reversal, that's not a seller, then the sell can happen here. But instead of this, I read all of that based on this guy. So he got his sharp with volume. That's not a seller. He tried to go up. He sells, and this is the kill of the sell. So no,
it's not the kill of the sell.
I mean, because not the sell, the win. Let's say.
Take a look at it this way. Okay, you guys know the what's our rule-based thing, right? If we have a sell that comes in here and then a buy that comes up, we're saying, okay, good. What's the next step? Go sideways, right? But if it goes sideways like this, what do we say about that?
That's too much. You need to redo again.
It's too much. You got to do it again. So these are deep attempts. These are deep attempts. This is why we don't call it kill yet.
Yeah. Okay, I got it. I mean, in that meaning, the kill, it's this, of course. But the point is, then we mix in this situation edge, because from pure sharp reversal perspective, you go down, that you become it. That's the second leg of this guy. So that's a pure seller for sure. He got this in the face with volume. Okay, I don't sell it. I don't care about that. And now you buyer, prove it. 1, 2, okay, you strong, whatever. For whatever reason, Toro doesn't believe that's the sell.
All that is correct. But did you forget where we're coming from? That's an important piece. There's a very strong sell that died here, down here. So I got to still be aware of, and then what if they hit it again? So I got to keep testing it and saying, prove to me over and over again that what I'm thinking is correct. Not to mention the higher time frame, even above this, has no flow. No flow means both parties are active.
Okay, but if you wanted to prove, I don't get it. If you wanted to prove, then the 4 hour need to sell while you buy.
Because the 4 hours not selling, that's why I bought.
Yeah, correct. So you don't want to prove with the 4 hour. That's enough.
No. It's enough only when it pops.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Until then, if it doesn't pop, this can crash down. I don't want to be in that situation where I bought and then I'm in this drawdown, which I do not know if it will recover or continue down. That I don't know. Because I don't have the higher time frame saying I'm in a big uptrend, trust the buy. I don't have that. Right? So the whole premise that we had this conversation today in the morning was not right and wrong, is positioning based on probability.
Yeah.
How do you position yourself of, if I am right, okay, if I am wrong, okay. How do you build that scenario where you can sort of anchor yourself of, I have a theory, I have the objective, I know how I want to play this, but if you notice my targets on this thing, they're here. They're in this area. I'm not going too far because I still have doubts on that big sell that can come in. Even though the launch looks fantastic, there's strong buyers. I still, because I don't have a flow, I've seen this so many times, they just show up suddenly. The seller just shows up because a higher time frame is never is not in control as a buyer or a seller. There's activity, but both sides.
So the step forward would be, okay, we have our safe spot basically, given that this is holding. And the next action would be, okay, it's not over yet. We need to keep track. And we let them push through. And then we start engaging again because we are aware of the daily, we are in this area.
Correct.
Or would we say we skip the 50% here completely?
I would skip that part. If this thing doesn't launch nonstop, I would skip it. The reason being is, remember how I told you on the daily here, if this goes up choppy,
Yeah, gonna
this
sell.
guy is going to hit it again.
Yeah.
Because of the sharp reversal, he's on standby.
Yeah.
So I have to, huh?
No, but how you skip it, if you in the trade, you need to, before it happen, you need to choose if you want to full out or maintain open.
Yeah, so that becomes on the trader himself.
Okay,
What do
cool,
you want to do? You want to keep it open and then decide how this looks and then say what you want to do. Some people will say, I'll remove some money and I'll keep majority running because it looks good. The reason why I'm going full out is the conversation we all had in Korea where I was like, cash flow is
Yeah,
king.
it's better. Yeah.
Cash flow is king, especially I don't have a reason to hold on to this trade apart from a smaller time frame saying it's a buy.
No trade.
The weekly says up, down, up, down, up, down. I have no direction.
Yes.
All I have is momentum coming from here that I can take advantage of one more time. And then if that momentum disappears, I can be dead. I got to be careful. Just like this. There's a strong seller. He comes right back up very aggressively. He slows down. According to a smaller time frame, this is a home run launch. He needs to fly to the moon. Higher time frame doesn't agree. He won't let it happen. Instant, one shot, everybody's dead. Everybody's dead. Doesn't matter how good the technical analysis, everybody's dead. So I always have this order of priority is correlation, higher time frame, and then technical analysis is the last importance for me. Always it's at the bottom of my list, not the other way around.
And looking at the daily, because it's the daily in charge that if this is choppy, then you're gonna hit it again.
Yes.
So now you said I want to get out here, which basically is like this basically here. So you don't let the daily try even to do that or this.
No, yeah. Because I'm taking a full cash flow.
Because maybe that thing can happen, let's say, later, because instead of happening right now, it makes another red bar, and then you're going to do that thing, for example. That's why you prevent yourself.
Correct. It can. And not to mention if the daily is that thing, and my whole premise is I need to see this like this for me to say, maybe I'll hold on to this. The launch wasn't that strong. It was okay. The next thing is, if you look at our correlation, euro is very weak. You know, yesterday it's like at the bottom of the correlation, like it's like one of the weakest pairs. And New Zealand was one of the weakest pairs also at the same time, which only recently became strong. So it's one of those, they're not making up their mind just yet. So if that's the case, the launch wasn't that beautiful for me to say, I love it. Now, the next thing is, this is still very powerful. So I don't know if they need to do this to launch out. If in that process, it takes a dip, then I lost my cash flow.
Yeah, correct.
Right? So what we're doing is, if we do these type of scenarios where we talk it through and we say, okay, let's talk about how would this look for this type of situation where it gets there? How would that look? What else is needed for that? And then we would say, well, to need that, we would need to this piece first. I don't know if I want to hold that piece. Good. So we write that down and saying, in that case, cash out now, remove 50%, remove 60, remove 80. You can make that decision depending on how aggressive or conservative you are. Right? And then constantly that thing on top saying, weekly's got nothing on top. The higher time frame's got nothing. Remove 60, remove 80. To need that, we would need to this piece first. I don't know if I want to hold that piece. Good. So we write that down and saying, in that case, cash out now, remove 50%, remove 60, remove 80. You can make that decision depending on how aggressive or conservative you are. Right? And then constantly that thing on top saying, weekly's got nothing on top. The higher time frame's got nothing. So what kind of play is this? It's a momentum play. Right? All we're doing is we're taking advantage of the current momentum that can disappear any moment. So we're just taking advantage of that and saying, okay, we're buying with our friends. These are our friends. We're getting out when their friends kick in. We're getting out around their friends. And we're not allowing to do any gamble on this thing because we don't know. We don't feel there's a more than 50% chance that this should happen. We don't feel that because we don't have support from the big boy. And if we don't have support, who do we work for? I'm not working for a smaller time frame guy. I'd rather work for the big guy. Right? And the big guy is basically saying, I'm on vacation. So I got to be very careful. So this is a good example to understand when you don't have home run markets, when you don't have situations where everything that you're dealing with is just taking off, like today CAD yen took off, right? These are home run style markets, but not all the time they're home run. So when they're not home run, well, what do? Well, we can sit there and wait for the home run. That's okay. That's also correct. Or you can devise a plan of what makes you think something is a home run and reverse engineer it and saying all these pieces inside can be traded. But they need to be done very, very accurately and very precisely. And all pieces must be correct, which means location, timing, correlation, volume. None of the stuff can be missed. That's why when we teach the home run stuff, that's the easy stuff. Because that doesn't require all of these things to be absolutely perfect. Just needs to be okay and you'll make money. And then cheese makes it easier after that. But to do these mid trades in between, timing is a sensitive topic.
I think the only issue with doing the home runs is because you need to have a lot of patience to wait for them to come.
Yes. And they don't come so often, right? Especially if the ones we did with CAD yen, that's like a monthly thing. How long did that take to set up, right? So not all the time do they come, but sometimes you get a nice daily home run, a weekly home run. But some pairs, when you just look up, there's nothing on the weekly. Then you look up, there's nothing on the monthly. Then you look up like, well, I don't have above monthly. So that pair is just nasty. I have zero support. So the only thing we will have is momentum support, which means temporary support. Whatever the news or whatever happened is causing this turbulent thing, which I don't know where it's going to end up, but I do know what they're thinking now. And we can take advantage of that. So it's like a little larger size cheese, if you want to put it that way. Or an intermediate size cheese, if